Okay, so we're talking today about the conversation that changed my life. And if you follow this today and write down some notes, what I was told will change your life too. So let's start here. Let's go all the way back in time. So I wrestled, I'm born in 1973, graduated high school in 1991. So I wrestled my whole life. So when I was in high school, I wasn't some great wrestler. I never won a state title or crazy stuff like that, whatever it was. But I always felt like I could be the best if I surrounded myself by the best people. So in 1991, I went out to Oklahoma State University. I'm going to brag a little bit now, okay? Oklahoma State University is the greatest college sports program in NCAA history. We have 34 national team titles, period, end of story. You can put us Alabama football, whatever you want. Oklahoma State wrestling, nothing compares to it. It's the most historic college athletic program in the history of NCAA sports. So I went out there. I went to Oklahoma. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I went out there because I wanted to be surrounded by the best people because there's something I knew. If you surround yourself by the best people, good things happen to you. So I got out to Oklahoma State in August of 1991. So now this part of the story, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to tell you I'm going to set up the table for where I was when I had this conversation, who I had the conversation with, let you know who that person was, and then I'm going to tell you how that conversation, how I've applied it to both my personal life when I've hit some difficult times personally and also in my business life today. So you can apply what I'm going to tell you today to whatever situation you're facing yourself. Let's go all the way back again though. So I get out to college, Oklahoma State, and I'm wrestling out there, okay? This is embarrassing to say, but I'll say it. In my first 2 years of college wrestling, my record was 5 wins and 20 losses. Now, to be fair to myself, I started as a redshirt freshman. We had a very intense schedule. So we wrestled a lot of tough guys who I was wrestling, okay? But I got beat by better guys. It is what it is. My record was 5 wins and 20 losses. It's now August of 1993. I'm starting my 3rd year of college. I'm sitting in the sauna with my college wrestling coach. You have to understand who I was surrounded by. Now, the people I was surrounded by back then would be equal to Michael Jordan, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett of today's time, okay? These were the greatest of the greats. My head wrestling coach, John Smith, he won 6 world titles, 2 Olympic gold medals. Kenny Monday, Olympic gold medalist. The first black wrestler to ever win the Olympics across all countries in the history of Olympic sports, in the sport of wrestling. Kendall Cross, Olympic gold medalist. I can go through just my teammates I could go on and on for hours, okay? I was surrounded by the best of the best. Well, it's August of 93, and my wrestling coach, John Smith, again, 2 Olympic gold medals he had there. We're sitting in the sauna. And we're sitting in the sauna, August 9th, school's just starting. We're getting ready to work out, whatever. Just him and I. And he says, you know what your problem is? Your problem is you're too worried about winning and losing. That's what he said to me. My record was 5 wins and 20 losses at that time, after 2 years. And I said to him, I said, Coach, when you win, we get yelled at because we didn't win big enough. And when we lose, we get yelled at because we lost. We needed to win. That's all it's about here. That's all you do here. Either you win or you're out, okay? And I'm not kidding you. Every single day I came into that room, I was just like, I'm fighting just to be able to keep coming into the room to wrestle, for God's sakes. You don't wrestle there for a long time if you have a losing record, really, for the most part. So I said to him, I said, that's all it's about. And that's just the truth. And that's all I worried about, okay? When I was wrestling, I was so focused on winning and losing that if I scored a takedown in the sport of wrestling, a takedown is 2 points. If I scored a takedown, I was up 2-0. I'd be like, oh my God, I've got to hold on and just hold out this whole entire match and just win 2-0, 2-1, whatever. And if I gave up a takedown early and I was down 2-0, I was like, the whole match is done. It's over. I'm finished. I'm down 2-0. I got to fight all the way back. It's just not going to happen, whatever. Because I was so focused on winning and losing. That's how focused, that's all I thought about. If I was wrestling, I was just thinking just going back in my head, just thinking about this. I'm thinking all I thought about, I got to score. I need to win. I need to win. That's all I was thinking, right? He says, your problem is you're too worried about winning and losing. I tell him what I told him. He says, you're missing my point. He says, you're so focused on the goal, you forget what the process is. He says, when you're out there wrestling, I don't even know who I'm watching. It's like you don't even exist. Like the person that I train with, that we train in the room, is not even showing up on the mat. We're sitting here saying, what's this guy doing? every time you go out there, it's like you forget how to wrestle. So think about this. I was so focused on winning and losing, I stopped wrestling. And this is what he said to me that changed my life. He says, do what we train you to do, and winning will take care of itself. He said it again. He said, do what we train you to do, and winning will take care of itself. And those last words were truly what the key part of it was. Winning will take care of itself. And legitimately, like after that conversation, like I started thinking about it. And I got to understand too, I was 20 years old at the time, 19, 20. I was 19 years old at the time, okay? 19 or 20 years old at the time. I thought about it, and I thought to myself, like, I'm 5 and 20. How much worse can I do, right? Okay. I mean, they liked me. I don't think they were going to kick me off the team, but I sure wasn't going to have an enjoyable remaining few years left in my career if I just kept losing. So I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and wrestle from now on, and I'm going to see how it goes, whatever. For the last 3 years of my career, counting my redshirt year, I wrestled 5 years there. For my last 3 years, my record was 50 wins and 25 losses. That still sucks, to be honest with you, for Oklahoma State wrestling. I'm kind of embarrassed even like giving the numbers to this stuff. But it is what it is. I own them. It's mine. It is what it is. So I ended my career there with 55 wins and 45 losses. Again, just saying that makes me want to puke. Okay, that's a horrible record. Now, some people say, Khash, at Oklahoma State, that's not a horrible record. At Oklahoma State, that's a horrible record. Anyways, 55 and 45. So look at the turnaround. When I would focus on the goal and not the process, 5 wins, 20 losses. When I focused on the process, and everyone watching me has heard that saying, trust the process, and I didn't worry about the goal, 50 wins, 25 losses. Let's take that conversation in August of 1993, and let's fast forward to 2009. I graduated college in 1996. I got into mortgages, what I do today, in 1999. Let's fast forward to 2009. So I opened up my own business, and of course, going through the ups and downs of the economy, the roller coaster, the Great Recession, the mortgage crisis, and all this other crazy stuff. March of 2009. In December of 2005, I had almost no debt. By March of 2009, I had $600,000 in credit card debt. I was drowning in credit card debt. I mean drowning. If you're watching me today and you're struggling financially, I was sinking like worse than the Titanic was, okay? I always tell people, I mean, I'm doing this video right now, it's August of 2022. It could be August of 2032. The story won't change because it's my history and it's my story. I'm telling you right now, I was drowning. And by the way, when people would ask me how I was doing, and I smile when I tell this story, I just lied as hard as I could lie, man. That's all I did. I just lied. I said everything's great when it wasn't. It was horrible. It was beyond horrible. $600,000 in credit card debt. My house, I owed $550,000 on it. The house probably wasn't worth much more than $350 to $400, so it was grossly underwater. I had no retirement account, my 401, just drowning. I remembered back to what Coach Smith said to me in August of '93. The goal was to pay off that debt. That was the goal. But the truth is what I tell people, because a lot of my friends will say, Khash, how are you even functioning? And today people say, how'd you get out of it? By the way, I ended up paying off all the debt, paid off everything. Here I am in 2022, 13 years later, I have no debt. Everything's paid off. I didn't go bankrupt. I paid it all back. And people say, Khash, how did you go from drowning in debt to debt-free? Simple. I trusted the process. I took what Coach Smith told me in August of 1993, and I applied it to that situation. And I looked at my situation, and I said, I got $600,000 I got to pay off, man. It ain't going anywhere, that's for sure. Phone calls, you know, they're raising the interest rates on this stuff. The market's crumbling down. It ain't going anywhere, that's for sure. So I said to myself, I can either focus on the end goal of I got to pay off this mountain of debt, or I could worry about executing the actions that it takes to get to the goal. When I wrestled, you know what the actions were? This was the goal, winning, wanted to win. You know what the process was? Have a good stance, keep your chin up, keep your feet moving, push the pace, keep your hands on the guy. Never finish periods on bottom, always finish on top. Never get pushed out of bounds, always circle back in, shove that guy out of bounds. Always end periods on top. Push the pace, keep the pressure. Like those are the actions it takes. That's part of the process to getting to the victory. To pay off my credit card debt, you know what the process was? Because I was in sales. I am in sales. I'm in sales. You know what the process is? Make phone calls today. Make connections. Have quality conversations. Have a good attitude. Get enough sleep. Wake up early. Put in the hours. Put in the time. And you do it day after day after day after day. That's the process. I trusted the process in 2009 and 10 and 11 and 12. I trusted it because my college wrestling coach told me about it in 1993. I took a conversation from August of 1993, and the title of this video here I got is A Conversation That Changed My Life, okay? You talk about a conversation. Did Coach know that in August of 1993 that I was gonna be doing a video 30 years later almost, talking about that conversation? To him, I don't think it meant a lot at all, because to him it was just the way it was for him, okay? But to me, it meant the world. That simple conversation. I took what he told me, I applied it to the situation I was in. I got a situation. I'll give you one more. So I'll give you two total, okay? And by the way, I've applied this to 1,000 things. My diet, my cholesterol, just everything. What he taught me, and by the way, Coach, if you're watching this, thank you. What he taught me is the epitome of trust the process. Too many people become emotionally tied to the goal and they forget about the process to get there. They become so emotionally married to the goal, that's all they think about. That is so wrong. Become married to the process. Become emotionally vested in and tied to the process of whatever that process is to do whatever it is your goal is. Marry the process. Today in the real estate industry, inflation's at an all-time high. Mortgage rates are at a high for where they've been for the last 5-10 years or so. The Federal Reserve is raising rates. People are getting out of this industry. There are major mortgage lending companies that have been the benchmark for the last 10 to 15 years that are on their way out of business. My industry right now is not in a good place. But do you want to know something? I go all the way back to a conversation I had in the sauna in the basement of Galgariba Arena in Stillwater, Oklahoma in August of 1993. Don't worry about the goal. Trust the process. You know what the process is today? If you're a real estate agent or you're a loan officer watching me today, don't worry about, Khash, what's going to happen at the next Fed meeting? What's going to happen to housing? What's going to happen here? Don't do that. You know what you worry about? You trust the process. You know what the process is? You get out there today, you pick up the phone, you make your calls, you make your dials, you make contacts, you have quality conversations. You put out meaningful content that helps other people. Have a servant mentality. Help others. Don't ask people, what can you do for me? Ask people, what can I do for you? That is something that I built my career on, is this simple question: how can I help you? If you're watching this video right now and you're saying, I'm drowning in credit card debt, I can help you, okay? You want to know why? Because I lived it. And by the way, if you're sitting here with credit card debt saying, Khash, oh my God, I got 80 grand, I had 600,000. Discover, American Express, US Bank, First USA, Capital One. I mean, my God, how many Capital One credit cards did I have? How many American Express credit cards did I have? Discover, I think I had 2 of those. Chase Bank, I think I had 3 Chase cards, for God's sakes. I had a who's who of credit cards in my wallet, okay? So if you're sitting here saying, I have a lot of credit card debt, I don't think you had as much as me, and if you did, that's okay too, okay? So today, I take the same information from that conversation today, almost 30 years later, and I got news for you. That conversation will hold true in 30 years from today. So that's the conversation that truly, truly changed my life. And I'll tell you this one, when he said it to me at that time, did it change my life? Not as dramatically as it has affected me later in life, but I can tell you what, it helped me then, and it's helping me more than ever. Simple conversation. That was in the basement of Galgariba Arena in our sauna, in our wrestling room, which was the best damn wrestling program, best damn wrestling room in this country's ever seen, ever had, ever will. So I mean, and that's why they say cowboy up, right? Okay. So keep watching these videos, like them, share them on YouTube, your social media pages, and keep following me. Thanks so much.